Hey y'all, hey, it's Erica with TimetoShrink. We are going to sit down today and have a chat. As Erin does the Keto Says, spill the tea. I love how she calls the question and answer session spill the tea. So, I've got my tea, I've got my notes, let's spill. Alright y'all, I put on the community page a question and answer thing and just said, ask me whatever you want to and I will answer. So I purposely have not read these yet. We're just going to read them and answer right off the top of my head, okay? Alright, I'll be looking down some because I have them on my phone still. Okay, number one from Jana. What revisions to keto did you make because of VSG? That's a good question, and not a whole lot, truthfully. The biggest thing is protein has to be kind of primary for me because I only have so much space. So what I do when I am setting up my macros or planning out what I'm going to eat is first I look at what my protein is going to be, and then I'm going to get a minimum, then I'm going to hit my minimum of protein, and then I add in my healthy carbs, and then I add in my fats. I make sure that I get a minimum of 50 grams of fat a day. I feel like that's what our bodies need to perform optimally, especially hormone-wise. Getting under 50 grams of fat a day is really unhealthy for anyone and everyone. So when I was first out of surgery, those were my focuses. And as I'm able to eat a little bit more at a time, I'm able to, expand a little bit on that. But that is the basis for me. Protein first. Protein is my non-negotiable. Then some healthy carbs, still staying under 20. And that's usually from a vegetable source, ideally. And then my fats. And I try to get my fats from as healthy sources as possible. So that's how I do it. But truthfully, if you look at the numbers and the percentages, it's really still straight keto. I also do have a beginner's series, a bariatric keto for beginners series. I think it's 3 videos. I'll try and pop the playlist up here if I remember. If you're interested, I go into a lot of detail in those videos, specifics. Okay, Caroline asked, what is the longest fast you have ever completed? I'm currently doing a 24. A 20-hour fast is awesome. That is really, really great. Way to go. The longest fast I've ever done was 72 hours. I may have gone a little over that. I think that was it though. 72 to 84 is what's sitting in my mind, somewhere in there. That's the longest I've ever gone, and I've done that a few times. I absolutely think that I feel amazing when I do a fast that's longer than 24 hours. The first 24 hours is the hardest for me. Actually, not that. Actually, no. 20 hours I can handle. The last 4 of the 24 is usually my struggle point, where I really get in my head and like, oh, I'm hungry, I want to eat, I want to eat, I want to eat. Or I feel a little off or a little dizzy or a little shaky. If I'm going to get those symptoms, it's usually in that 4 hours after 20. But then I go to sleep, and when I get up the next morning, I'm already around 36 hours, and from there I'm pretty good to go. Yes, I still think about food sometimes. Yes, it's still in my head sometimes, but when I'm not eating and I've passed that place, I start to get this energy. It's almost like a little bit of a euphoria, and what that is adrenaline. When you're fasting, your body is in a fight or flight mode a little bit, which is why we don't want to do long fasts all the time, because that could up our cortisol. Different story. But anyways, I totally forget where I was going with that.
Hold on.
Totally forget where I was going with that. You can walk through, it's fine. I'm taping in the summer. People are here. He's doing projects around the house for me, y'all. Yay! I'll be sharing those with y'all later. Okay, I have no idea where I was going with that. But the answer was 72 to 84. Oh, I know what I was saying. It makes me feel really good. It gives me energy, and that's that adrenaline from the fight or flight. The negative part is it is sometimes hard to sleep for me on a fast, and that's because of that as well. Okay, what made you decide to have VSG? I decided to have VSG, y'all, because I got to a point, I like to call it like my sick and tired moment, when I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. I have a lot of chronic health issues, a lot of pain issues, and because of that, the active person that I used to be became a very inactive person and kind of started controlling my life. I gained a ton of weight. I was miserable, just miserable. And finally, I just thought, you know what? I've tried and tried to just lose the weight. I'm not seeming to be able to get on a good pattern. Nothing is lasting. And I started looking into it. And once I did enough research into the vertical sleeve gastrectomy, I was hooked. Like, I thought, this is a tool that I want. I want to have this tool to help me. I know that I'm ready to change my life, and that's when I started changing my life. I lost a lot of weight before I got to surgery doing keto, and sometimes I wonder if I would have just kept going, if I would have really lost any faster with the VSG, because truthfully, since VSG, my weight loss has been relatively slow, even though I've been doing keto. And I always say our bodies are not, it's not just calories in, calories out. Our bodies are super complicated beings. We all have our own issues, our own hormone issues, our own chronic illness issues, our own chemistry, and our body's going to do what it wants to do. Yes, having weight loss surgery can help us lose weight faster for many people. For me, it was not a fast process because of all the things I just mentioned. Anyways, I am glad I did it though. It is a tool that I'm glad to have in my arsenal, but I definitely learned that it really is just that. It is just a tool. You have to change your lifestyle. You have to make good choices. You have to find a way that you can eat for life. You have to change. It's not just get this and, oh, you're going to lose weight, because maybe for some people, but that has not been true for me. If my eating is not on point, I will not lose anything, VSG or not. Okay, Susie said, what app do you use to track your macros? And I would love to know your Yum Yum sauce recipe. Well, Susie, I'm still perfecting my Yum Yum sauce. I promise I'm going to share it at some point. There's definitely lots of them out there on Pinterest, but it's definitely a really yummy Yum Yum sauce. Hopefully I'll be able to share that before too long. I just want it to be perfect, and I'm still perfecting it. What was your question? Oh, I use Cronometer. Cronometer is an app that does a really good job with keto macros. It lets me do net carbs, not just total carbs. I find it really, really easy to use. I do use the paid one. I pay once a year for it, so I really can't remember what I paid, but I really, really enjoy it. Heather asked, tell us more about your career as an RN. I've been a nurse since 2001, I think is when I graduated from college. I've done so many different things. I was a float nurse in a hospital for 8+ years, which means I called in on the way to work and said, where am I working? And it could be step down ICU, it could be mother baby, it could be the ER, like wherever they needed me. I just worked all over, and even in my 12 hours I may be 3 different places in the hospital, and I loved that. I thrived on all of the change, and I don't like things to always be the same, so I loved that. Then I did home health, I did hospice, which I absolutely loved, and then I got hurt and was not able to work anymore, and now I am disabled. Now I'm on medical disability, so that really stinks, because I love being a nurse. I love helping people, and truthfully this YouTube channel has saved me, y'all, because not being able to be a nurse and not being able to be that servant or that helper and teacher to people was really, really, really hard on me mentally. My mental health really suffered by not being able to work as a nurse, as not being able to do my career. One, I wasn't bringing in money for my family, but mainly because it was not just a job for me, it was a passion. And now I've kind of taken YouTube and made it my passion, and trying to help as many people as possible utilizing this platform. So y'all watching, y'all liking, y'all sharing, all of that, just, it means so much to me. And the more people that I can help, if I get one comment about how I helped somebody in something, it makes my entire week. Like, that's what I'm about. Absolutely. Do you have any tips related to hair loss or good products to use for prevention? I do not think that you're probably going to prevent hair loss. that may not be what you want to hear, but when you have any kind of major trauma, a surgery, major weight loss, really quick weight loss, it's almost impossible to not at least have some of that. It's just one of your body's like, oh my God, I'm not getting enough in, or oh my God, what the heck is happening to this body? I don't really care what's happening with the hair. I'm going to work on their heart. I'm going to work on the things that actually keep this person alive. She's only bringing in 500 calories. I've got to use those calories in the best way. And so you can get exactly as much protein as you need in the beginning, but it's not coming from whole food sources. It's coming from protein powders and things like that. And the calories are so low by design in the beginning, and it kind of shocks our body. That's also why sometimes people have like major stalls just a couple weeks in. They're eating 0 calories. I mean, they're eating like less than 500 calories a day and they're still not losing. It's because it's your body going, whoa, what the heck are you doing? What is happening? Slow down. And it tries to conserve everything. And in that process, sometimes losing hair happens. The good news is it's going to grow back, y'all. It's going to grow back. I have crazy thick hair normally. I have lost hair, y'all. I've lost a good amount of hair, and when I do this and I'm holding my hair, I feel like I've lost like half my head of hair. I don't know how much I've lost, but I had crazy thick hair, so it's not noticeable that I've lost hair, but I have. And I have lots and lots of regrowth, so I get all these flyaways everywhere because the regrowth is strong. However, there are some things that you can do to support the healthy regrowth, and those are great. Taking biotin is something that you can do. There's a little controversy over biotin because there are some side effects that can show up in lab works in certain instances. You could go, for example, you're having chest pain and you feel like you're having a heart attack, you go to the hospital, and the markers that they look at, the blood markers that they look at, may be not telling the correct story because of biotin. Biotin does not in any way cause cardiac issues at all. It can just excuse me, it can change some of the lab markers when you go to the hospital in that situation. So some doctors, especially cardiologists, don't like people to take biotin, but if we go to the hospital in that kind of situation and you just and you let them know what you're taking, then whatever, you know. So I don't think that's a reason not to take biotin. You just need to tell people what you're taking always when you go to the hospital or your doctor. They need to know what you're taking, supplements or prescriptions. So I think biotin's great. You can take up to, I think it's like 10,000 units or so a day. I'd suggest taking it in a pill or a chewable, not in gummies that have all kinds of fillers and carbs, but that's definitely an option, y'all. And also collagen can help support healthy growth of hair and nails. It also is good for our joints. As we get older, we lose some of the elasticity in our body, and taking collagen supplements can be really helpful. So biotin, collagen, and then the main thing is to get enough protein. It's not going to regrow well if you're low on protein. If you're habitually low on protein, your hair and nails are going to suffer, but not just your hair and nails. Protein is made up of amino acids that are building blocks of our body, of muscle. So getting your protein in is like crazy vital with VSG. Okay, this next one is a keto question. Tamara said, what was the point that you realized keto was going to work and this would be a lifestyle and not another diet? Okay, that's pretty easy. I kind of knew within the first month or so, it's been over a year now, but within the first month or so, I felt better. It wasn't just about weight loss for me. It was the mental clarity. It was the less chronic pain. It was the just freaking feeling better. And that had me hooked. Even if I never lost any weight, if I could just feel that better feeling more often, I was hooked. So that's why keto worked for me. It wasn't just about the weight loss at all. It wasn't even primarily about the weight loss, even though that is a huge goal and it's still a huge goal of mine. Keto is about my health. Then she also asked, hold on, I need a drink. She also asked, if you could meet one of your keto idols, who would it be and why? Easy. Foodie Turn Sleevey, chill up, is she does keto and she had weight loss surgery. But I just would love to meet her one day. Oh my gosh, totally on my list. She just seems like such a sweetheart. She has been such a like pillar of the weight loss community and the keto community. She's so encouraging to anyone and everyone. So it would be her or Tanya Voodoo Queen. Both of those are people that just inspired and motivated me beyond what I can even say. And I would love to meet both of those ladies so much. There's many more too though, y'all. This is such a freaking amazing community. The keto community just blows me away. So there's a long list, but those are the two that came to my mind first. 2 more questions. Paige said, have you ever tried intermittent fasting? Okay, we talked about fasting a little earlier. I had tried long-term fasting, like 36 to 72 hours, but I had never really tried intermittent fasting, even though that technically would be an intermittent fasting. Anyways, the day-to-day intermittent fasting that people talk about, I had not really tried. I didn't want to stress my body out. I have enough things that stress my body, and intermittent fasting can be a stressor. It can raise cortisol, and I was working really hard to bring down my blood sugars, to bring down my insulin spikes and that kind of stuff. Plus, I also was having major issues with eating late at night. So once I got to the point that I thought it would be good to start intermittent fasting, which is about a month ago, I could not seem to do it. I would say I'm gonna do it, and then I'm eating at 10:30 at night, or I'm eating at midnight, and then I'm like, oh well, I'm not doing it, and then I would just beat myself up about it. That was the one thing I was not controlling. It wasn't messing with my macros. I was still getting the right amount of calories in a day. I wasn't going over with what I was eating at night. I usually would eat like a Built Bar or a handful of Wisps or a tablespoon of peanut butter. Like, it was never a lot, but it was something. But I have now done a week now. I started a 72-hour fast last week, early in the week, and then since then every night I've done intermittent fasting, and I'm doing like 16-8, and it's going really well. And y'all, I've lost 9 pounds this week. I haven't lost weight in like 6 weeks. I've been going down and up and down and up, the same few pounds, and it was really frustrating. But I know my body sometimes hits things where it needs to work on things internally. I'm working on a bunch of different things. One of the things we're doing is trying to get myself off of a depression med that causes weight gain, and maybe that has contributed to it because we're coming down off of that. I don't know, but I've had this huge whoosh. Like, every time I step on the scale, I've lost another 2 pounds or another 1 pound. It just keeps coming off this week. I don't know if it's IF. I don't know if it's coming down off that med. I don't know if it was just time and my body was holding on, repairing, working somewhere, and then it was like, okay, now we're back to weight loss mode. I don't know what it is, but I am super happy. IF is going really well. The problem for me is at night still. Sometimes I get really moody, mad at myself, mad at the whole freaking world, because I just know if I eat that freaking piece of peanut butter, I'll feel better. I just want it. Yeah, angry like that. And lashing out, and it's almost like it is an addiction. Food is an addiction, and withdrawing from that, not fueling that emotional or bored or whatever eating, whatever reason it is that I wanted to eat at that time, not filling that and just not doing it was making me really uncomfortable. And when I'm uncomfortable, I want to eat. But I've been pushing through it. I've been making myself sit in those emotions. I've been staying in my bedroom and away from the kitchen. I'm not sleeping awesome. I'm having times where I'm just thinking about food, thinking if I just have that tablespoon, I know I'll be able to go to sleep, and I probably would. But I'm not allowing it. And I think the longer I push through this, the less I'm going to have those feelings and the easier it's going to be. I hope. Right? Y'all tell me, if you do IF, does it get easier? During the day, I have no problem. I can go all day and not eat. I'm not all that hungry all that often. That's one of the side effects, or I don't know if you want to call it a side effect, what you want to call it. It's one of the things with vertical sleeve gastrectomy. Some people lose their hunger, the hunger hormone called ghrelin is greatly reduced after you have a vertical sleeve gastrectomy surgery, because a lot of the receptors are in the stomach part that they cut out. But there's all kinds of hormones related to how you eat. So just because that's gone doesn't mean you're not going to feel hunger. I just don't very often. So it's easy for me to go all day. It's the emotional eating that's hard for me and that I'm working on. And then last question, what's your favorite keto snack and keto meal? I love food, y'all. I don't know if I have a favorite keto meal. I make chicken enchiladas that are freaking amazing, and I've keto-fied those. I really, really like those. I crave those sometimes. That's the first thing that came to mind, but there's so many things that I love. I love a good steak. Just give me a ribeye, seasoned well and cooked perfectly. I'm a happy girl. Snack-wise, I have all kinds of keto snacks, and I'm trying to not reach for them as much. I'm trying not to eat as much processed foods, but my favorite, probably taste-wise, probably would be, I love Cheez Whiz. I love Cheez Whiz, Cello Cheez Whiz, intact cheese crisps. Love both of those. I love Power Crunch bars. Those can get me in trouble because they're so dessert-like. I like Built bars. Again, those can get me in trouble because some of the ingredients are not the best for me. So I tend to go for Cheez Whiz because they're high in protein and they're very satisfying. That's probably my number one that I always have on hand and I take with me places and things like that. It's probably my favorite. I love Cheez Whiz. Okay, y'all, that was a really long video. There were a lot of questions. I hope y'all enjoyed it. We can do another one of these in the, probably not in the near future, but maybe in the next 6 months or so. I might ask if y'all want to do another one of these, or if there's any subjects, if there's ever anything you want me to talk about, anything you want me to do a video on, share it with me. DM me, put it in the what is that called? Put it in the comment section down below. I always read the comments. I love reading y'all's comments. I have never not answered a comment as far as I know. I try very hard to. I love that. I absolutely love getting to know y'all. So I'm always going to answer. You can email me, any of that kind of stuff. I am here to be helpful. It is why I am doing this. So if you need me to help you with something with keto or something with weight loss, questions that you have for me as a nurse, obviously I can't give medical advice, but I do have a lot of knowledge and can help guide people through things. I'm really good at helping people get started with keto. And I even have a group called TimetoShrink Bariatric Keto Support Group that if you're interested in, I will put a link to that down below, but you can easily find us on Facebook under that title as well. So anyways, all right, that's all I have. We have spilled the tea, y'all. All right, bye, y'all. I'll talk to you soon.